You're locked into the Liberty Flames podcast, powered by Rogers Heating and Cooling, servicing Greater Lynchburg's HVAC and electrical needs. Schedule your service today at callrogers.com.
The Liberty Flames mobile app is a must-have for game days. When you download the app, your access to Flames Nation is in the palm of your hand. Listen to our live Liberty Flames Sports Network audio broadcast. Click the Media tab, and under Audio, find the live broadcast in progress. Football, basketball, baseball, coaches shows, all right here. Purchase and manage tickets to the next Flames home game. Click the Tickets tab. Select Purchase Tickets. Then you have the ability to buy seats to the next game. Download those tickets directly to your device and scan them at the gate. Or select Manage Tickets to download your previously purchased tickets or parking pass. Transfer or sell your tickets easily through the Manage Tickets button. Download the Liberty Flames mobile app today from your App Store or Google Play.
Welcome to the NAZSCAR podcast with Nick Pierce. Don't worry, there's no lap, traffic, or caution flags here. Paul Nazigan and Tim Scarborough are here to bring you the latest on Liberty Flames basketball and mid-major hoops. Now, let's get to it. Here's Nick, Naz, and Scar.
And then there was only one unbeaten team remaining in Conference USA men's basketball, and that team resides in Lynchburg, Virginia. Yes, the Liberty Flames moved to 5-0 with a pair of wins on the road last week. Welcome into the NAZSCAR podcast. I'm Nick Pierce along with Paul Nazigan, Naz, and Tim Scarborough, Scar, and they are here once again to talk some Flames hoops. We'll talk Conference USA as well right here this week on NAZSCAR. Part of the Liberty Flames podcast family presented by Rogers Heating and Cooling. Schedule your service at callrogers.com. Guys, good to see you again. And man, the Flames just keep on rolling. Another good weekend for Liberty, another good week. Liberty going to Louisiana Tech, getting a win on the road there, and then doing the same thing at Sam Houston last Saturday. Man, this is a really strong-looking basketball team right now. 5-0 in Conference USA. Would either of you have had that?
Nope, definitely not. When you think about the early games, Kennesaw, Jacksonville State, you figure one of them would clip them early. Then having two road games out west, I didn't have that. You remember the first 2 years of Conference USA, Liberty has not gotten off to a good start. So, I definitely did not have that. How about you, Naz?
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. 3 out of the first 5 on the road, and seeing who was coming into town. Yeah, that was so you're right. I mean, it's impressive that they're 5-0, and impressive like we've talked about in the past. Like they've done it differently. We're seeing some new trends emerge that are really exciting to see that we'll talk about later in the show. But yeah, it's really they're playing such good ball right now.
Yeah, I don't think I would have had that either. And Scar, you mentioned it as well. You look over the last couple of years, Liberty has stumbled out of the gate in conference play. That has not been the case here this year. And I'll bring up, we got a couple of good stats. I don't know if I'll call this stat of the day. It's co-stat of the day. I'm going to start with this one. 3 minutes and 49 seconds. That's the stat. You know why? That's how long Liberty trailed on the road in those 2 games last week combined. So you're talking 80 minutes of basketball. Liberty trailed for a total of 3 minutes and 49 seconds. Only 40 seconds in the Louisiana Tech game. Never later than 9:31 to go in the first half. So never trailed in the second half. And that got me thinking, which is a dangerous thing. But that got me thinking, what are some things you cannot do in less than 4 minutes? I'll start.
I don't know. I don't want to touch that one.
I'll start. You can't fully charge your phone. Can't fill up a tank of gas. Yeah. Probably can't take a shower. At least I can't. And you can't go on a game-winning drive with Jalen Hurts in less than 4 minutes either.
Ouch. Yeah. Great setup. I already moved on from football after yesterday. So.
Yeah.
That's all right. I had to move on after this weekend too.
That's the way it goes. But you can fill your car up in under 4 minutes, or you can't.
You
Takes you more than 4 minutes to fill your
I
car
don't
up.
know. I was thinking about that. I was like, it's probably
Nick has
pretty
that
close.
giant SUV with the 40-gallon tank,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, that's
Oh, my
what it is.
wife has the giant SUV
There
with the
you
40-gallon tank. No, I don't know. I'd have to time. I'm going to time that next time I go to the pump. But I don't think I can. From the time hold on. From the time I park to get out, and then you got to go through the little app. At least we have the Walmart. You go through the app, and then you get the 10 cent off.
Yeah, no.
By the time you go through all that stuff,
I'm saying squeezing the nozzle to hanging it up. That's when you start the clock.
We're way off track here.
No, we're exactly where I wanted us to be, Paul. This is the analysis that I wanted right here. How long does it take to
it
fill
is
up a gas
NASCAR,
tank?
so it is NASCAR. So we can talk fuel up.
Very true. Yeah. 4 seconds, right? Is what you need, a pit stop.
Yeah, no, it's a little longer than that. Not much longer, but a little bit longer. No, but seriously, what am I missing here? What are some things you can't do in less than 4? This is really impressive. You guys got anything off the top of your head? I didn't give you much notice on this.
Yeah, no, I got nothing
Brian
that we can say on the podcast.
Maybe make some eggs and toast in the mornings. Take you longer than 4 minutes. I don't know.
That's a good point. I don't think I can make Tostito rolls in the air fryer in less than 4 minutes.
There you go.
That's one too. So, but that's what we're looking at, guys. 3 minutes and 49 seconds. And you look at what this team has done on the road. And I was going to get into this a little later, but might as well throw it out there now.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this. Yeah,
Flames are road dogs, man. They're 3-0 in the league on the road this year. And you go back to the beginning of last year, guys, 10-2 in road Conference USA games. We've talked about how hard it is to win on the road in this league. The arduous travel, going out, Tim, or Paul, one of you said, going out west, changing 2 time zones. This team just finds a way to get it done.
Yeah, and you think about the fact that, in college sports, college basketball in particular, the home team wins 65 to 68% of the game. So you're already behind the 8 ball just by playing on the road. That's why all the big major teams, they don't go on the road in the first part of the year because they make their own schedule and they schedule 10 home games, or they'll play you, on a neutral site. But home court advantage is a real thing in college basketball, especially when you get into conference play, and especially when you're the defending champions. People build their team to stop you. I ask coaches this all the time when I'm covering different leagues. I'm like, when you're recruiting, are you trying to recruit to beat Team X, meaning the team that's in the top of your conference? And they all say the same thing, really. We're going to recruit to our strengths. But yes, we have that in mind. So thinking about coming into this year, Liberty winning the championship was going to be the team with the target on its back. And for them to come out and handle their business so far. Now, listen, my Scar watch last week was Missouri State, and our guy, Coach Juanzo Martin. I got to see them in person last week. Really good team. They got some players, and the 6'4" power forward, the Barkley type forward that Osabensu, the guy I was telling you guys about, he was really tough to stop. It's going to be fun watching him go up against Zach Cleveland in a few weeks. And Middle Tennessee, they took their first loss. They lost their game right after Liberty beat Louisiana Tech. Middle is a really good team. They probably just kind of coughed that game up late.
That was a great game,
UTEP,
though.
but it was a really good game. And then you think, well, man, if UTEP's good enough to beat Middle Tennessee, they're going to be tough to beat when Liberty has to go out there. So there's still a lot of basketball to be played, but I wouldn't trade 5-0 with anybody else. That's for sure.
Yeah, Nick, and I didn't have that 342. I mean, wow, that's impressive. But just jotting some notes down. I mean, I had for those 2 games just to really be in constant control. I mean, just where for 2 road games, and you guys mentioned all the little details about going west and time, all that stuff, and for them to just really, I mean, it was funny. We were, I know us three, we text during games that are away, and I was also texting with Matt Warner, and he's like, it was like methodical almost like, and that's not using it in a negative sense. It was just a complete domination in a methodical. Surgical, great word. And so it was like, and then to hear the stat of that they were only trailing by that many, it's like it was really impressive. And we've said it before, but it goes back to like, how are you going to do that on the road? And then again, remember the other win down at FIU was you got experienced guys. You got, we mentioned Porter, Matheny, Cleveland, Decker, all guys that are seasoned guys that know this conference. And then you throw in the supporting cast and the guys that have come along. That's why you say teams that are old do well. It's you go into some of these arenas. They hadn't won in Reston before, and you go in there
Ruston
and just dismantle them. It's like
not many people win in Ruston, by the way.
Exactly.
It's a really hard place to go.
They were 8-0 at home this year.
Yeah.
Right. And
that's so, every year. They're really hard to beat there.
Yeah. So again, just to where they are sitting right now and how they're playing, very, very impressive.
And then worth mentioning too, Sam Houston had not lost a home game yet this year either before Liberty went in there last Saturday. So now they're 5-1 at home. But Sam Houston game, Liberty wins that one last Saturday, 82-74. And a game that the Flames led by only one at halftime, guys. It was 34-33. It was right there for the taking. Just 49-45, the lead with 6 minutes into the second half. Then the Flames, we saw them go on that run. 15-6, they bump it up to 13. Guys, Liberty shot 77% in the second half at Sam Houston. That's insane. 17 of 22 with 12 assists as a team in the second half against the Bearcats. So the leaders, go ahead.
And honestly, shooting 57% for the game in any gym is hard to do. Let alone on the road against what I like to consider, I think Sam Houston's a well-coached team. Mm-hmm. But they had no answers for the Liberty, the continuity that Liberty runs. Whatever they did was wrong. And Zach Cleveland was just amazing in that game. He had 10 assists.
Career high, 23 points and 10 assists, And
one of these days he's going to get that triple-double. I mean, he flirts
he had
with
7 rebounds,
Yeah. So, in 38 minutes. Richie McKay is pushing all the right buttons right now.
Yeah. And again, we continue to see with the emergence of Josh Smith, got to mention it, man, 2 really strong games on the road. Again, a guy who hasn't played as much in a Liberty uniform, but a guy that is a seasoned veteran against solid competition. And so he's really, coming in and contributing, 8-8 one night. He's almost in double figures in conference games. And it's now given Liberty that ability to, bring him in. And if another team that kid Illich for Sam Houston, he's a big kid. And it was interesting because he could not match up when Cleveland was at the 5. No. And then, so he got pulled. And again, coach does a great job of creating those mismatches and using them to our advantage. And then, or neutralizing him with Smith's size, and having Cleveland at the 4 and just, man, that freedom to just do what he does. We can't say it enough. He's so unique and just picked them apart. And they're a good team. You guys saw that they have a little bit of size. That Cashy Nat, that dude, 20 points and 5 steals, and what he had? He had probably 6 or 7 assists. They got a decent. They have a solid team, and again, to go in there and in that second half just dominate them, very, very impressive.
Yeah, for sure. And so the Flames now go to 5-0 in the conference. By the way, first team to start 5-0 in Conference USA since the 2022-23 FAU Owls. The significance of that, they ended up going 11-0 in the league and went all the way to the Final Four. I'm not saying.
You're not saying, but you might be saying. You want me to come out and say that they're not going to do it?
No. Well, actually, yes. I do want you to say that.
Yeah. Then they'll do it, right?
History repeats itself.
Yeah, and I tell you, I covered that FAU team, and I remember around this time it was probably a little bit later, and later in January, I went down there to do a game, and I know Dusty May very well, and you know we talk on the record and we talk off the record, and I remember off the record, he looked at me and said, "I'm just telling you, we're going to go really, really far." And at the time, they were like, you know, 18-0, 19-0, and they hadn't lost. And he started going down the list of guys. And I saw one of those guys playing this weekend, which is just crazy to me. But Nick Boyd is playing for Wisconsin. And it's just like, hold on. He played 4 years at FAU. He played another year at San Diego last year, and now he's at Wisconsin. But anyway, he had a Final Four team. I mean, Elijah, can't think of the kid's name, Elijah, that went to played at Florida last year. You know, so they had, and the big kid, Golden. So he had all those pieces. And so he kind of knew what, and I'm not saying Richie is feeling that way about his team. Maybe he is, I don't know. But I do remember that FAU team was really, really good. Because Conference USA prior to that was really kind of middle. It was Western, it was Louisiana Tech. And FAU and FIU was kind of that trip that you go have some fun in Florida. But Dusty May got there and he changed that whole program around. So 5-0. If you could emulate what Dusty May did, Richie McKay, you'll be enshrined forever in NCAA lore.
Elijah Martin is who you're thinking of.
Martin, yes, thank you.
Yes, it's all right. That's yeah. So that's something to keep an eye on there. The record right now. I mean, just a very impressive start. Talked about the road record. Before we get into some of the games coming up here this week, another stat I wanted to throw at you guys. You know, we talked so much last year about the frustration. It's hard to be frustrated in a championship year, right? But the free throw line. And the Flames last year shot 66% on the foul line. This year, they've improved. They're 69%. That was dead last in the league. Now they're 7th in the league. But if you look at what they've done, this 5-0 stretch in conference play, the reason, or at least in part, is what they've done on the free throw line. 5 conference games, Liberty is shooting 79% on the free throw line. That is tops in CUSA. They have completely flipped this thing all the way around as far as that goes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And we talked about it a little bit before we came on. Josh Smith, Naz, that's a guy you mentioned a minute ago. He's been a big part of that.
He's 18 of 19 from the free throw line in conference play. And Brett Decker as well, 20 of 23. So those guys are carrying the load right now.
Yeah, and you know you're always going to get good percentages from Cleveland and Matheny. I mean, from Porter and Matheny.
Matheny and Porter, yeah.
So it's like, and I don't know what that is. It's not like they all went out and again, a lot of them were steady all the time. But I think it just shows a good focus, and that comes from maturity, and that comes from here it's the reset. Now starts conference, and it's added another piece to make this team so hard to beat. Like, think about it. Like, you can't foul them because right now they're hitting their free throws. An incredible assist to turnover ratio. They're shooting the ball so well from the floor. I mean, over 50%, and they got 3-point assassins.
But here's the thing, as they're not relying on that 3-point shot the way that we're used to. They were 6 of 18 from 3 against Sam Houston, and they still won that game.
Exactly. So, we've said it before. It's pick your poison. So it's like, what's everybody doing? They're running at shooters, and you know what we're doing? We're killing everybody in points in the paint because it's drives, and so it's like it's really a thing of beauty. It's how are you going to try to break Liberty down? And
you can only defend so many things.
Exactly. We've already won games this year in very unique ways.
And I like the fact that Liberty isn't relying on holding you to 60 points. This is a different Liberty team than I've seen since Richie McKay's been back. Because one thing about Liberty is they're always top 15, top 10 in defense in terms of field goal percentage and points allowed. And this year they're a good defensive team. They're just not an elite defensive team, but they are a much more efficient offensive team. And they've always taken care of the ball, but they're still doing that at an amazing clip.
Yep.
but more importantly, the shooting. Brett Decker is still shooting 50% from three. Caden Matheny, 38%. Colin Porter, 41%. JJ Harper, underrated three. He doesn't take a lot of them, but he's shooting 39% from three.
Yeah.
And
Scar,
Xander Yates comes in and knocks it down. So they
Scar,
got
like, how does that happen? Well, yeah, we got good players, but you can watch games all weekend and see good players miss shots. They're hitting those percentages because that offensive flow of ball movement and player movement and just passing up good shots for great shots. I mean, it's just like, so it puts guys in position to get it in rhythm with nobody right on them, to create that ball movement where the defense is now chasing, and you get that extra split second to gather yourself and get it in rhythm. And that's why they're hitting. And it's like, man, they're so effective running that offense.
Something that Richie McKay said, and I was trying to find the quote, but it was in regards to just how this team has been playing differently. And, they're not trying to lead the country in any type of stat. They don't have to play a certain type of way. And I'm just paraphrasing here, but they're going to find ways to get it done. And that's what we've really seen them do up to this point. I'll keep looking for that exact quote if I can find it here, but moving along.
It really helps though when you're shooting 52% from the field. If you go into a game knowing you're gonna make half your shots, I mean, you gotta be feeling
that's tough for anyone to defend or beat. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Looking ahead here this week, Flames are back in town and the students are back. That's a good thing. They will be. Let's see. Students will be getting back in town. Classes start, I believe, on the 19th. I don't go to class anymore, so I don't keep hardcore track on that.
Did you ever?
Occasionally. I got a degree from there. I went enough.
Yeah, there you go.
Looking ahead to Thursday, Liberty's got New Mexico State coming to town. That'll be a 6 o'clock Eastern start. CBS Sports Network will have that one. Of course, Alan York will have it as well on the radio. Liberty Flames Sports Network, presented by Abish Financial Services. New Mexico State 9-6, 2-3 in the league, 0-3 on the road. The Aggies have dropped 3 of their last 4, coming off a 59-55 loss to Middle Tennessee last Saturday. They did beat Western Kentucky last week, 80-64. That was career win number 300 for Jason Hooten, their head coach. Got some other particulars with the Aggies here, but guys, I mean, the kind of style of play that the Flames are going to be up against. Got UTEP coming to town 48 hours after that on Saturday. A couple home games coming up here. I mean, you got to like Flames coming into this thing. Where are some areas of concern potentially? Or maybe just some things to keep an eye on if you're a fan at the arena this week?
Well, New Mexico State, just watching them. I don't know if you guys saw some of that. It was on ESPNU, their game against Middle, and Middle's, man, they're big. So we'll talk about them another time.
Yeah.
But with that New Mexico State, you're going to get a team that really plays hard and physical, and Coach Hooten's over there, and man, he's intense, and they play like that. They're going to play, and they play really tough D. I don't know that they, just kind of in watching them, I don't know that they do anything that stands out individually, but it's like you put it all together and they're just a team that could go on the road and just make it ugly and play. They do play hard D. So it could be one of these kind of really physical grinding games, which if you're them, that's what you want. You don't want to be at home and get Liberty's crowd into it and the threes are falling. And so look for them to be a little extra physical and just try to muck it up and, get into a kind of a rock fight and then see where they are. But it's going to be physical. And one thing that, Liberty needs to keep working on is that rebounding. And they got guys that'll probably just try to go through a couple players to get a basket or an offensive rebound. So, it's going to be lace them up tight Thursday night.
Well, and one thing to keep an eye on for this team will be young man that they added from the transfer portal. You talk about New Mexico State being kind of a tough-minded defensive team. They've returned just 5% of their scoring from last year, but they went in the transfer portal. They got Jamel Jones Bakersfield transfer. Guy was fourth in the Big West last year in scoring, almost 19 points a game. He led the Aggies in both their games last week, had 24 points in that game against, I think it was Western Kentucky, and then he had 16 in the Middle Tennessee game. So that's a guy to keep an eye on. Jamel Jones leading them in scoring right now. He's kind of put together a couple games in a row here. But outside of that, Naz, I'm kind of with you, and Scar, I don't know if you want to chime in on that. There's nothing that really jumps off the page necessarily.
I can tell you one thing that does, fellas.
Okay.
They only give up 29% 3-point shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really, really good. You're holding people to under 30% from downtown on the year, and assuming everybody shoots it now. So teams are taking 15 to 23s and they're only hitting less than 6 or 7 of them. Then if they could do that to Liberty, I put it this way: if they could do that to Liberty, and you mentioned it earlier, Naz, Liberty doesn't necessarily fall back on that 3-point shot in terms of they don't have to make them a lot, but you still have to guard it. And I say this all the time: when those guard actions that they run, that's very similar to Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. I mean, and Klay and Steph get a ton of easy twos. Liberty gets a ton of easy twos because of that threat to shoot the 3-pointer. Now, if they can do what they do and make Liberty miss 3-point shots and still protect that rim, then they'll have that score down where they need it to be to get a road win. Again, easier said than done, because it's not just the guards that shoot it for Liberty. Everybody shoots it. And that's and it's not a lot of teams that can say that, where all 5 guys.
And for that matter, look, we saw J.J. Harper break out. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Harper had 20 points the other day against Sam Houston. We hadn't really seen that kind of offensive prowess on display from him yet this year.
He was getting practice shots. If you watch that game, I mean, he was getting wide open shots. And it was probably one of those things, you can't guard it all. He probably said, hey, this guy hasn't been shooting it a lot. Let him take a few. And he made them. So, you know those calculations as well as I do, Naz. That's what you think about when you're going into the game. You can't guard a whole football field. You can't stop everything people do in basketball. So you try to pick and choose, and hopefully you focus on the things that they're trying to do and take some, and kind of, as they used to say, make them play left-handed. But it's harder to do on a balanced team like Liberty is, that can run. And not only is Liberty balanced, they're flexible and adjustable and variable. Liberty can beat you a lot of different ways. This is not something we've been saying about Liberty in the past, but they won a game 97-94, first game of the conference, in overtime. So they could also win a game 68-62. So it doesn't matter how you play.
Yeah, you're right, Scar. It was great seeing Harper do that, but bigger picture, I mean, it's like, you're exactly right, Scar. I think that's exactly what they did. Like, don't let Matheny and Porter get looks, and Decker. And man, that's when you need a guy to step up. Number one, to feel the confidence to take those. So man, JJ you saw, man, he just caught it. He was open, pulled the trigger, and to hit those and then have that game like he did, that just adds another layer of, man, teams are scouting that, going, man, we don't know who you gonna leave open as you're trying to scramble defensively. And
he was in foul trouble too, right? I mean, he ended up fouling out. He only played 27 minutes. He still got 20
I mean,
points.
he's in there banging. He's picking up some tough defensive assignments on some of those interior guys. But for him to kind of walk away from those games and have that confidence, another layer of, man, I stepped up, hit a couple big threes. We know he's doing the job on the defensive end, but that just makes that unit stronger. Same thing with Smith. They're coming out of these games going, man, we are, we're contributing. We're making them go big, go small. Just a real, adding layers to an already good team.
Then you look ahead to UTEP on Saturday. That'll be a 3:00 start, so a little mid-afternoon matinee. Paul, that'll be good for you. You can hit the early bird special after that, right? Just kidding.
With UTEP, we won't get too deep into it, but they're just, I don't know. They're just, the way they play, it's always dangerous because they're just going to create chaos, and they're a little bit down, so they're kind of like a wounded animal and got nothing to lose. And, they play that style. They're going to try to cause turnovers and trap and jump. And, again, Liberty, if you take care of business and have your head screwed on right, then you should be okay. But like we said, it doesn't matter what the record is. If it's a Conference USA game, it's going to be a tough.
And Tim, we were watching that game the other week when they had Middle Tennessee in El Paso, and I mean they were dead in the water a couple times, and they came back, a couple late runs, got that thing to overtime, wound up winning 83-80.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed some grit in that game.
But that doesn't happen if that game is in Murfreesboro. But they really fed off the energy of their crowd. The Don Haskins Center is a really good place. I've called many games from that place, and it's always loud. Even when UTEP's not very good, their fan base shows up. And you can't say that about a lot of mid-majors, but not a lot of mid-majors have the history that UTEP has. But they, I don't know how they will play on the road. I don't suspect, could be wrong, but I don't suspect Liberty will have any trouble beating them. Again, Middle was handling them, and then they just kind of fed off the energy of that crowd and started forcing turnovers, and they were hitting shots that they weren't hitting in the early part of the game. Played in a score that was probably a little higher than they're used to playing, and they won the game. They put together a night, and to the benefit of Liberty, because now Liberty is the only undefeated team in the conference. But again, I don't think UTEP is going to be that big of a deal. But but that's why we play the games.
No, you got to keep them out of the paint. I mean, that was one thing we saw late in that game, right? I mean, guys like Elijah Jones, Jamal West, their leading scorers, they were driving downhill, challenging
They drive
guys.
that ball. Yeah, West has taken 8 threes this whole season. He's driving. He's going to the hoop. So, but Jones is taking 60, 61 threes. So they haven't. They're not guys that are shooting 100 threes. Nobody on their team has come close to shooting 100 threes. They want to drive the ball. That's what their game plan is. So Liberty has to keep them out of the paint. And as we talked about, you need to rebound because much like Kennesaw, they're trying to crash that offensive glass. So, but I think Liberty will be okay in that one.
Well, that's 2 games coming up this week. Thursday night, 6 o'clock. Saturday, 3 o'clock. New Mexico State and UTEP, respectively, at Liberty Arena in Lynchburg. Got a couple minutes left. Need all of you back out at Liberty Arena, obviously, this week. Coach McKay was imploring the fan base after the Sam Houston game. Good home crowd, good for 6 to 8 points in favor of the good guys. So get out there and cheer on the Flames this weekend. Naz, we'll get to you. You got a NASDAQ report for us here to begin the new year, right?
Yeah, well, I think so. But before, I know we wanted to make sure we mentioned Colin Porter getting his 1,000 points. We don't want to miss that. So
I don't remember if I hit that or not. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
That was last Thursday against La Tech. He had 1,000.
Yeah, what an amazing career he's had. I know he's got more to go, but yeah, it was just nice to see him hit that milestone. He's averaging double figures now for the first time in his career. Just amazing. The guy just such a warrior, a fighter.
You're about to have 3 guys on the court at the same time with 1,000 points.
Yeah, I think that may be a show in its own. We need to talk about those guys. But yeah, pretty amazing. So real quick, the NASDAQ stock down, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. I don't know if you guys saw this one, but let me give you the scenario. You're up 2, late game. There's only 0.1 on the clock. Okay, you're up 2.1, and you've got the ball out of bounds.
Game's over. I won that one, right?
Right, game's over, right? It's all. No, not for Cleveland State. They have that scenario. They're playing Stonehill, who I guess stock down Naz. I didn't even know Stonehill was a Division I college. So
Fred Flintstone's coaching that team, right?
No, Marty Ruppel was their point guard. I heard. Yeah, pretty good.
But anyway, they're playing Stonehill, and that's where Cleveland State is. And all you got to do is just throw it long, get anybody to touch it. You can't even possess the ball to get a shot.
You don't even have to throw it long, Naz. They just need to touch it. You can give it to the other team.
You can hand it to the guy, right?
You can hand it to the other team.
Because it's 0.1. You can't shoot it. You would have to hit the ball to anyway. They call a timeout that they don't have. It's a technical foul. Stonehill goes. They get 2 free throws. They make it. They go to overtime. Cleveland State loses. Unbelievable.
Is Chris Webber coaching Cleveland State?
Yeah. Chris Webber is saying, "Oh man, it's not just me."
Yeah, maybe Webber is finally off the hook.
Yeah, maybe so.
Wow, man. I once you started laying it out, I did remember seeing that. Man,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, you talk about Scott Van Pelt and the bad beats. I don't know where that one falls, but my goodness, that's pretty hard to do. That'll be one of the most remarkable comebacks we talk about all year.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens in March Madness, but that's a good one. That's stock down Cleveland State. No fun times in Cleveland again. But that'll wrap it up here for this week's edition of the NASCAR podcast, part of the Liberty Flames podcast family, presented by Rogers Heating and Cooling. Get your HVAC system serviced and schedule your service today at callrogers.com. Guys, as always, lots of fun chopping it up here and talking some Flames and mid-major hoops.
Can't wait to do it next week.
Yeah, that's what I say. Can't wait to do it next week. Naz, you'll have the call coming up here this Saturday from the arena.
Right.
So look forward to that as well on ESPN+. For all of you for joining us, thanks so much. This has been the NASCAR podcast. For Naz, for Scar, I'm Nick Pierce. We'll see you next time.